I can remember it. I was a little boy, I'd say about 12. That was the first time I went to the Deaf Club in St Augustine's. And it was a children's party for Christmas, and I'd been invited as a deaf child at 12. And at 16, when I left school, I joined St Augustine's as a member. But I didn't know what it meant. St Augustine's, what does that mean? It should have been called Barnsley Deaf Club, but it wasn't. It was St Augustine's. And that was because, well, they used to do games, darts, and we used to play against hearing people in hearing leagues, and we were called St Augustine's. It was the same for the football team. They were called St Augustine's. And there were snooker matches and darts against hearing people, hearing teams. So when hearing people saw on the match fixtures St Augustine's, they knew it was a deaf team that they'll be playing. It automatically mean deaf. And when there was a table tennis league, it wasn't Barnsley Deaf team, it was St Augustine's again. So again, the hearing people knew that they'd be playing deaf people.
My parents discussed and decided that it was best for me to go to Doncaster School for the Deaf. So I think I was there until I was about 12 or 13, and then I finished there and moved over to Boston Spa, and that really impacted me because I missed out a lot in education from Doncaster compared to Boston Spa. I wasn't taught enough properly, English, that sort of thing. And it was mostly just BSL that we used and that sort of stuff. So when I moved to Boston Spa, it was a huge impact. Everybody was oral. The English was great. It was really interesting. I caught up a lot, and I did struggle at the time. I was really, really happy there. And obviously they encouraged me a lot and sort of forced me quite a lot to be oral. But, you know, it doesn't matter whether you sign or you're oral. It's just important that the English is there, and my future was set up. So I moved to York College after that. I did an art course. There was no interpreter then. Boston Spa sort of, sorry, I've completely forgotten. I'm really shy, sorry. You weren't able to sign, you see. We had to follow the Boston Spa rules, and we had to be oral. So I had to be patient and wait 2 years. I then moved back to Barnsley, and I moved back in with my parents. It was fine. There was an interpreter at the Barnsley College, and I thought, wow, I caught up so much compared to York. 2 years later, it was fantastic. It made me think, wow, my future's going to be great. I've got access. It's going to be a really smooth future. Then I moved to Barnsley University, which was next door. That was for 3 years. The first year was brilliant. The interpreter was there. People, could help me with everything. And actually, the only downside was that their teacher base there was quite controlling and told me how I should learn, but actually based on my history, my way is my way. I want to achieve certain things the way I want to achieve it. So yeah, it was quite competitive, really.
My name's Keith. I was born hearing. And at 5 years old, I fell down the stairs, banged my head, and I became deaf. I went to Doncaster Deaf School about 1950 to 1961. And when I left school, I did a maths course. But my first job was working within the town hall as an apprentice to painter and decorator. I remember going in there, and they gave me a cup of tea, and it was lovely when I started there, and they taught me how to paint. They offered me an apprenticeship. I was there for 5 years. And I passed, and I was classed as a high-class painter and decorator. I've worked in the town hall many times, and Cannon Hall many times. Worked in lots of different schools. I worked for them for 40 years, and I retired when I was 55. I was born in Barnsley, and I've stayed here all my life. I remember when I was about 7, I saw my mum and dad and I realised that they're deaf like me, and they explained to me what it was to be deaf. And my dad took me to a place which was a deaf club in Kingston. I remember going in there, it was full of people, all adults, and I was really small. And people came up to me, shook my hand and said, "You're deaf, I'm deaf." And I felt really enthused by it.
Obviously, there's new deaf people, new friends. And I think, for example, different people's backgrounds that I can learn from them. Because obviously older people, they can pass things on to me and I can do the same. I just want to achieve something and have people look at me and go, wow. But at the moment, I don't get any attention at all. But some people love me because of who I am. I'm a comical person. But there's something there that, I don't know, I feel quite, I need to just judge myself up. I don't know if I'm wrong or right. I don't know.
I remember saving up to buy my first car. I had 20 driving lessons and I passed first time. I remember joining the Deaf Mountaineering Club. That was a mountaineering club. And it's still going now. It's still ongoing. I've really enjoyed my life. I've never let my deafness affect me. My life has been enjoyable. Thank you. There's a lot of deaf people suffering within the community. They haven't got access to interpreters. It's definitely a harder life in Barnsley. But when I've since got involved with the forum, we're campaigning to try and change things and make things better and improve things for deaf people. Deaf people need interpreters for the GPs and medical appointments. It's good. We've got flashing smoke alarms. We've got access to the council for things within the home. That's okay. And we get support for that. There's always services like tech services. So it is improving. It's better than before. But before we used to really suffer. And I know now it is going to improve in the future. Like I said before, life was hard. It used to be under the welfare. You used to get support from welfare. And that destroyed everything really when it stopped. We have to rely on interpreters and we have to wait 2 to 3 weeks for an interpreter to be available. And CAB do a service for 2 hours once a week, but that's not enough time. But the forum's a lot better. We support each other a lot more within the forum. So that's helping the community. And we're trying to campaign. And we get interpreters in. And things are improving. We went and got involved in an event with the police, talking about hate crime. But without the interpreter, I wouldn't have been able to access that information. Services out there need to wake up. They need to do information with subtitles so we can understand what's going on. But there are problems. There's still problems accessing services.
I like to be alone. I like peace. Obviously a partner so that I can do my art at home, watch films and just be with my family. That's all I want.